I cheated on my husband, and I do not regret it at all. I got married at 20 to an amazing man. At the time, I thought he was perfect. No red flags whatsoever. A month after our wedding, he went on his first military deployment. While he was away, we talked about starting a family as soon as he returned. So when he came back, all got pregnant quickly. But when he returned, he was a completely different person. My first sign of this change came when I shared the news of my pregnancy. I expected joy, but instead, he pretended to hug me and then slam me down. He even called my dad to tell him what he had done. I endured this for 2 more years. My breaking point came when he choked me until I lost consciousness while I was breastfeeding our daughter. All because I said good morning while he was playing a game. When I came to, I called the police and my parents to pick me up. I stayed away for 3 years, but returned after my dad passed away, thinking he had changed. I was wrong. He quickly reverted to his old ways, and I attempted to leave multiple times without success. He was a narcissist, and I had undiagnosed BPD. I realized I needed someone new to help me break free, so I started dating my high school sweetheart. We fell in love again, and he helped me leave my abusive ex-husband. Then, my high school sweetheart died suddenly. It felt like either karma or a cruel twist of fate. But by then, I had already left my ex, and that decision saved my life. I had faced multiple brushes with death, the last being when my ex choked me in front of our 2 children, threatening them with foster care if he killed me. So yes, cheating is wrong in general, but I did it, and I don't regret it. It's the reason I'm alive. My ex did catch me cheating, and he cried. I felt no remorse. I wanted to laugh. But I held it in, because I feared for my life.
I fell in love with my BIL, and I hate myself for it. My husband invited his brother to live with us almost a year ago after he lost his job and faced eviction. I wasn't thrilled about it. He was practically a stranger living 4 hours away. But he was family, and I couldn't say anything against it. When he arrived, it was awkward. My husband worked long shifts, leaving me home alone with someone I barely knew. But as time passed, we started chatting and spending time together. Our house isn't big, so we often found ourselves in each other's space while cooking or watching TV. About 6 months ago, he found freelance work, but he was still home all day. We developed a routine, cooking and eating together, going for walks. He insisted it was unsafe for me to walk alone, and I began to feel happier with him around. In a moment of panic, I suggested to my husband that it might be time for his brother to move out. I thought it would be better for our marriage, but my husband misunderstood. He thought I disliked his brother and refused to kick him out. He believed that spending more time with him would help me see how gray he was. But that was the problem. I started to see how wonderful his brother truly was. I couldn't tell my husband that the real reason I wanted his brother out was because I was developing feelings for him. I love my husband and want our marriage to last, so I kept quiet and tried to distance myself. Yet it was hard. Every day I felt myself falling for him more. I tried to limit our time together, but the guilt was consuming me. I told myself it was normal to have crushes, as long as I didn't act on them. But my BIL was getting flirtier, even after I asked him to stop. When I suggested he move out, he just laughed it off. I began to resent my husband for putting me in this situation, even though I knew it wasn't really his fault. Our intimate life suffered too. My husband said his brother could hear us, which made him uncomfortable. It's been nearly a year of feeling like I'm in a dead bedroom. I don't know what to do. I can't tell anyone in my life because I know how terrible it sounds when said out loud. I booked a therapy appointment, but the earliest I could get is in January. So here I am, confessing to strangers that I'm in love with my husband's younger brother and feeling like a horrible person who doesn't deserve love. I grabbed my laptop and some essentials and went to my dad's house. I'll tell my husband to meet me there tonight so we can talk. Thank you to those who offered real advice. It helped more than you know. I was raped by a coworker, and it has now cost my family everything we had. 6 months ago, I shared a part of my story, promising to update it eventually. I made a throwaway account to keep this private. At a work party, I was in college, and she was a career waitress. I had just come out of a long-term relationship that shattered me. I wanted nothing to do with anyone, no intimacy, no connections. I took the job at the restaurant to keep busy and earn a little extra money. She flirted with me at work, but I turned her down kindly, explaining I wasn't ready for a relationship. I had no interest in anyone. After a couple of drinks at the party, I blacked out, something that rarely happened to me. I woke up at sunrise, half naked, with her beside me. I felt confused and unhappy. I slipped away, got dressed, and walked home, passing out for over 12 hours and missing my shift the next day. When I reported what happened, I was met with disbelief and ridicule. I walked out and never returned. 15 years later, I discovered she had a baby. We are now trying to find out if it's mine. This thought consumes me every day. I dread what we will do if he is mine. She seems focused on money, believing we are well off, but we are far from it. Life has been a series of financial struggles for us. My wife dropped her insulin today, shaking with anxiety over our uncertain future. Everything feels like a mess. As it turns out, the child is mine. We were hit with a massive child support order, and we hope to catch up over time. Then the pandemic hit, and we both lost our jobs. Bills piled up, but we managed to keep food on the table, holding on to hope. Today I went to buy groceries, and my card was declined. I felt embarrassed, thinking it was a mistake. But no, the state seized the little money we had left. I had no way to buy food or my wife's insulin. Now, I sit in my car, unsure how to tell my wife just how dire our situation has become. You can do everything right and still end up at the bottom. I wish my family didn't have to suffer because of my past. But amidst this darkness, someone from the community is sending us a month's supply of insulin. I can't express how grateful we are for the support we've received. We put our kids to bed and are overwhelmed by the kindness we've encountered. Thank you all. Tonight my boyfriend beat me to the point I thought I was going to die. I'm 28 and my boyfriend is 30. We were drinking to celebrate Christmas and I was enjoying myself as we wrapped presents. Then I saw his phone and noticed pictures of another woman. I confronted him, needing an explanation. He finally admitted he had been texting someone I always felt uneasy about and had received inappropriate photos from her. I started crying and he demanded his keys, but I refused to give them to him since he was very drunk. I suggested he sleep in the bedroom while I took the couch and he could leave in the morning. He woke up later, searching for the alcohol and causing chaos in the kitchen. As he tore everything apart, I tried to redirect him, worried about our pets and the toxic cleaner he was using. That's when it escalated. He grabbed me from behind in a chokehold, and I thought I might black out. In a panic, I grabbed my phone to record. He hit me in the face multiple times, and I could feel my ears ringing. He choked me again and even spat in my face, rambling about things that didn't make sense, as if he confused me with someone else. This was the first time he had ever been violent with me. I finally found a way to escape and called my dad, then his sister. She urged me to call the police, and she started driving to me. When the police arrived, I showed them the video of the attack. As he was taken away, he yelled at me to call my dad and have him get me out of his house. Our names were on the lease together. His sister picked me up from the police station and took me to the hospital. I'm okay. Just a minor head injury, but I'm terrified. I don't know what comes next. I have no car because he controlled our finances and it got repossessed. I'm worried about how I'll get to work. Part of me feels bad that he'll wake up in jail, unaware of what happened. His sister thinks he might be experiencing severe issues triggered by alcohol, but that's no excuse. Merry Christmas, right? I haven't slept yet and I'm still processing everything. I'm absolutely not going back to him. I'm taking his name off the lease and changing the locks tomorrow. I just need to find a way forward.
My wife's inability to handle her periods is driving me nuts. As a guy, I've never experienced a period, so I can't fully grasp how it affects her mind and emotions. But every single month, she spends a week being difficult with me. She'll criticize everything I do, and it feels like there's no right way to do anything. It's always directed at me. For example, I'll make her hot coffee, and she'll say, "I don't like coffee hot." You don't know anything about me. But she does like hot coffee. The next day, I'll make cold coffee, and she'll respond, "Why would I want cold coffee in the morning?" It's like you don't think about what I want. Eventually, she'll hint that she'd be happier with someone who values her. Every month, it feels like she's suggesting divorce. The rest of the month, she's amazing. I love her so much, and she loves me too. She'll apologize later, saying it was just her period. But if I try to point it out during those moments, she gets really upset. I know I'll never understand what it's like to have a period, but after all these years, I wish she could recognize when it's the period talking and not her. I'm not going to leave her, but this has taken a toll on me. 3 weeks of the month, I'm affected by it. 1 week leading up to her period, I'm dreading it. During her period, I feel like I'm constantly being berated. And the week after, I'm just trying to recover. I haven't been responding to comments because I've been looking into what people have said about PTMD, hormones, and birth control. I plan to talk to her about making an appointment to see what a doctor recommends. But that's a conversation I'll have to wait until next week to have. Thank you for listening. Boyfriend didn't tell me about a traumatizing Christmas tradition. I'm typing this out in the car on my phone, so I apologize for the formatting. My boyfriend's parents experienced a devastating house fire on Christmas Day 22 years ago. It destroyed their home and took the life of their beloved cat, Periwinkle. He's mentioned this to me several times during our years together, and I understand that pain all too well. Having been a victim of a house fire myself when I was 8, last night while staying at his parents' house, I woke up around 2 a.m. to chaos. I heard yelling, alarms, and the dogs barking. My heart raced as I jumped out of bed, ripping my phone charger from the wall. I fumbled to put on my slippers but fell and hit my head on the dresser. I didn't even feel the pain. I just needed to get out. I heard my boyfriend's little sister screaming, "Fire! Fire!" My heart sank. As I stumbled down the dark hallway, I tried to control my sobs, feeling the dryness in my throat. The memories of my own house fire flooded back. Instinctively, I picked up my boyfriend's sister, who giggled for a moment as I carried her. In my panic, I knocked over a picture frame, shattering it as we rushed outside. Once outside, I set her down next to my boyfriend's dad, stepmom, and their 2 dogs. Despite the chill in the air, I felt an overwhelming warmth from adrenaline, but I soon realized I had lost control and wet my pajama pants. I was so embarrassed and overwhelmed, tears streaming down my face. Yet everyone around me was cheering and high-fiving. I was confused and terrified, struggling to hold back a panic attack. My boyfriend approached me with a smile, and I asked, "What is going on?" The sirens and alarms had faded, and the house was dark behind us. He looked at me, finally noticing how shaken I was. I was trembling. And when he touched the bump on my head, I instinctively pushed his hand away. I shouted, "What is happening?" His stepmom tried to comfort me, but I shrugged her off. Then, my boyfriend's dad calmly explained, "We do this every year since the fire, and I time it." He showed me his phone, revealing that only 2 minutes and 13 seconds had passed since he started the fire drill. That number is etched in my mind, a reminder of the trauma. I was shaking uncontrollably, fighting the urge to faint. I called a friend who lived nearby to pick me up since I didn't have my car. My boyfriend's dad told us to come back inside when I figured out what my problem was. He's usually so kind to me. My boyfriend said he didn't think I'd react this way since I don't talk about my fire as much as he does about his. I felt heavy and weightless, lost in my emotions, as he tried to usher me inside to change clothes. I pushed him away, feeling overwhelmed. And he called me a name that stung. He went back inside, leaving me in the dark. Now I'm sitting on a beach towel in my friend's passenger seat, and my boyfriend has been texting me, but I muted him. How could he not tell me about this? Why wouldn't he share such an important part of his life with me?
I ruined their day by informing them of their genetic heritage. My in-laws have always taken pride in their Italian roots. They've used it to explain their love for certain foods, their rounder body types, and even their playful banter. My husband took a DNA test last year, and the results were surprising. His Italian grandparents turned out to be a mix of different European backgrounds, including German and Spanish, with almost no Italian at all, just a tiny fraction. We found it amusing, sharing laughs with his grandparents, who had their own biases despite being part Portuguese. But my husband wasn't ready to share this revelation with the rest of the family. One night, while dining at an Italian restaurant, someone remarked about their obsession being in their blood. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Then, my sister-in-law made a joke using a derogatory term for Italians. I turned to my husband and asked if he had told them yet. He chuckled nervously and suggested I break the news. My brother-in-law laughed, but my sister-in-law looked at me as if I had just insulted her. My husband started to explain the results, and she sat there, stunned. A friend of hers chimed in, suggesting that even if my husband lacked Italian heritage, it didn't mean they did. As a biologist, I had to clarify that while there can be some variation, not to that extent. Later, my brother-in-law made another joke using an Italian slur, and I responded, "Remember, you can't say that anymore. You might get in trouble." My sister-in-law shot back, "I don't care what the test says. The last names will always be Italian." My husband, ever the peacemaker, quipped, "It's all right. She's trans-Italian." We all laughed, but my sister-in-law was not amused.
My foster family is putting me in respite care over Christmas. This is my first Christmas without either of my real parents. And now the foster family I've grown to like is sending me off to stay with a stranger. Instead of just letting me join them for their family gatherings, they decided it would be better for me to be away. I've been reading up on respite care, and I know it's sometimes normal, but this is my first long-term experience in foster care. I really don't think I'm that difficult to take along. They care for me every other day, and it's not like I've been planning to cause any trouble. I met the person I'll be staying with, and she seems nice enough, but this whole situation feels upsetting and embarrassing. They told me it would be busy and loud, and since I don't enjoy that, they thought it best for me to spend the holidays somewhere quieter. But after talking with my foster siblings, I suspect the real reason is that part of their family is very religious, and my own past with that has made me uneasy. I understand their perspective, but it still hurts that they didn't ask me. They just assumed I wouldn't want to go. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me, though. I've figured some things out, and it's been approved by everyone involved, including my social worker. I have one friend whose family I can hang out with on Christmas Eve, and another friend is letting me join their Christmas dinner, since the person I'm staying with doesn't celebrate. Plus, the woman I'm staying with is actually pretty cool. She's a hairdresser, and she's going to put some highlights in my hair and do some fun, girly things that my foster mom isn't great at. It's exciting for me. Some of you suggested it might actually be better, and I thought you were crazy, but maybe you were right. I'm having fun so far, at least.
I'm dying, and I don't really want to tell anyone I know. So, here we are. According to my doctor, I've got somewhere between 6 months and a year left. Honestly, it feels like the worst expiration date I've ever been handed. I'm not ready to tell my friends yet. Not because I don't love them, but because I don't want the pity parade to roll in with casseroles and long pauses. I'd rather spare them the slow, painful emotional countdown and let them live normally until the last responsible minute. As for family, well, that's basically a group chat that's been silent longer than I will be. So there's not much to tell there. That leaves exactly 2 beings who know, my doctor and the owner of my dog's daycare. They've been my pup's godparents since day 1. I needed someone trustworthy to ensure my fur child ends up in good hands if I can't take care of him anymore. Surprisingly, I am at peace, mostly. I've gotten my affairs in order, made the responsible decisions, and accepted the situation. I'm not spiraling or angry. I'm just not ready to say it aloud to the people who know me. Once you say it, it becomes real in a way I'm not emotionally prepared for. I guess I'm posting here because I needed to release this somewhere anonymous, somewhere that won't look at me with sad eyes. I'm not looking for sympathy, more like a strange mix of honesty and humor, and maybe to hear from others to get a feel for the reactions. Thanks for reading this long ramble. Death is strange. Life is even stranger. If anyone has tips on navigating this without making my friends cry prematurely, I'm all ears. I genuinely didn't expect this many responses to my post. This was something I needed to get off my chest, and your kindness and compassion have meant more than I can say. I also want to answer a few questions I saw in the comments. I'm 50, a widower, and I lost my partner back in 2020, right before COVID took over. We had no children, and I don't have immediate family on my side. What I do have is a core group of friends who live close to me. They're wonderful people, but they each have their own struggles. I'm usually the one who listens to everyone else, the empathy ears of the group. It just didn't feel right to add to their stress when I could avoid it or at least delay it a little longer. I already have a will in place. No, I don't plan on creating chaos for anyone. I'm financially stable and not looking to burden anyone. Before the end, I plan to clean out my house, or at least get rid of the extra junk, to make things easier for my buddy who is the executor of my estate. And yes, that includes all the unmentionables. No one needs surprises of that sort. I'm also going to the funeral home next week to pre-purchase a cremation package for myself. Everything will be written out with explanations about what to do and what my wishes are, so when I can no longer hide my condition, those around me won't have to scramble or wonder what I wanted. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years.
My family found out that I had a baby 3 months ago, and Christmas is kind of ruined. I'm sure you can infer from the title that I'm not really close with most of my family. I was born out of wedlock, which was such a big deal to my father's family that they barely acknowledged I existed. I'm indifferent to our lack of relationship. My mother raised me, so to me, most of those people are just strangers I share some DNA with. My dad has a brother I'm close to. He was the only one in the family who played a role in my life. I never really saw my dad, but my uncle always had time for me. Even after he got married and had kids, I never felt like I didn't matter to him. He came to my graduations, helped pay for my mom's funeral, and walked me down the aisle. He's more of a father to me than my biological dad ever was. So naturally, he and my aunt were the only ones I told about my pregnancy. I asked him not to share the news because I didn't want them to rain on my parade. I'm still pretty young, and given how judgmental my dad's family was about my wedding, I knew they would have criticized me for being pregnant at 23. I thought I might tell them eventually, but it was so nice to prepare to be a mom without other people breathing down my neck that I kept putting it off. I ended up going into labor a little early, which was already hard. Now I'm struggling with postpartum depression. Between my baby being in the NICU and dealing with everything else emotionally, I just didn't tell them. My baby has been home from the NICU for a little while now, and my husband's mom made a celebratory post about her arrival, which one of my father's relatives unfortunately saw. To say that my phone has been blowing up would be an understatement. I've had people who haven't spoken to me since I was 12 call me to criticize me for not telling my dad that he's a grandpa. I'm being accused of ruining my father's and by extension his wife and kids' Christmas by withholding this news. I'm being called heartless, selfish, inconsiderate, you name it. My husband thinks I'm unbothered by what's going on since issues with my father's family don't typically bother me, but it's harder to ignore this time. I feel like my daughter's first Christmas is going to be tainted by my feelings of guilt and sadness. It's starting to make me feel like a terrible mom. I don't know if that makes any sense though. Sorry for the ramble. I just had to tell someone about this because I really don't want to make my husband worry. My teacher who called me stupid in high school was a patient of mine. When I was a freshman, I had this biology teacher who seemed to have it out for me. I never understood why. She once accused me of being on drugs, even though I had never seen drugs in my life. I was just a tired teenager, moving from the north to the south, and dealing with my parents' divorce. I was lost and depressed, struggling to fit in. Everyone treated me poorly because I looked different. I miss my friends from back home, and my grades suffered. She even told me I was academically challenged, but I wasn't. I had been tested in middle school, and I had no disabilities. One day, when I finally raised my hand to answer a question, she belittled me in front of the class, saying, "Wow, even you got this right." Fast forward over a decade, and I'm now a nurse. For years her words made me doubt myself, but I proved her wrong. Last week, she came into the clinic where I work. She didn't recognize me, of course. I looked different, and I had changed my last name after getting married. When I told her who I was, her eyes widened in shock. To my surprise, she seemed excited to see me. She said she was proud of me and never imagined I would be her nurse. Then she joked, saying she thought I would end up as a receptionist. I didn't find it funny at all. I had been a receptionist, and it was a tough job. Some things never change, I guess.